Tibbs is fired up. The Rockets get the win, 105-103. And Tibbs is just here so he doesn't get fined.
Just the way I feel about that in general is I don't really care like how tight the game is called. You can call it tight or you can call it loose. I just would like the consistency to be the same. They have to use their judgment, right? And I have respect for that. So didn't go our way tonight.
What's on that last play?
Great call. Next question.
What do you feel about your closeout on that play?
It was a great call. Next question.
Do you think that was the right call, Richard?
I don't know if we have the ability to show it again. It was a BS shot. It was 100% a BS shot. That's not the question. But if the ball's still in someone's hands and you hit their body.
He doesn't hit his body.
Okay, well, that's the thing I didn't see. I couldn't see if he doesn't hit his body at all. It looks like he hit his body.
It was great defense. He forced him to take a one-handed shot.
Okay, well.
I don't disagree. So he doesn't touch his body at all.
But landing space is a thing.
Landing space is not the only thing. And landing space, it's hands, it's landing space. It's
verticality.
You know that play?
Not a foul.
This is what I'm saying. You know the play where you tap somebody in their stomach and you're not allowed to hit them? You know what I'm talking about when you hit somebody in their stomach? That's not landing space. That's not wrist. You're not allowed to touch a shooter when he's in air.
Well, after the game, crew chief Ed Malloy, he was asked about seeing the replay and do officials believe that it was the correct call. This is what he said right after the game, Richard. This wasn't even the next day. He said after seeing it during the post-game review, the offensive player was able to return to a normal playing position on the floor. So the contact, which occurred after the release of the ball, therefore is incidental and marginal to the shot attempt and should not have been called. So he admitted that it was an incorrect call.
I 100% agree with what they're saying. What I am just sitting here, and I think it's absurd for everyone to look at the officials and see that and not assume that there's contact, or to say like, hey, once we've slowed it down 19 times and looked at it from 6 different angles, that is not a foul. That's the only thing I'm saying.
And that's what I will agree with, because if you're watching the game, and the refs do the best job that they can, I know we give them a lot of hell sometimes, but like that angle didn't look like a natural. I mean, when you have the shot going up that way, and then the angle that the defense came, now you did not touch.
That's his
but I will tell you this: when we sat down over the last season, the WNBA, we have the same type of rules conversations.
Yep.
The number one emphasis that they brought to the table was landing space. And so if you're sort of lunging, I can see why that whistle was called, even though they didn't understand. No, I get it. I get it.
The referees try and be very objective.
It's been a point of emphasis, and I can see them
Brian. I want to get Brian's
Pro athletes, brutal call. Brutal call. And I am always a defender of officials. I believe the officials don't have an outcome of the game. Huge percentage of the time, 99%. This is the 1%.
Yeah.
It's a brutal call. And even what's even more brutal about it, Malika, it's the same official who made the call or not the non-call last year.
Boston.
In that game in Boston when Tatum hits LeBron here.
This is the Patrick Beverly camera game, right?
Yeah, Jason Goebel. In this particular case, he's out of position. He's on the move. He's out of position. In both instances, in the pool report after the game, they instantaneously admit the foul is wrong, which is unheard of. I don't know what would happen in overtime, okay? Maybe the Rockets hit their first 6 shots and win anyway. I'm just telling you, it's a brutal call. The Knicks are in a brutal part of their schedule. They got all these guys getting hurt. Dante DiVincenzo gets hurt in the 4th quarter of this game. They got 2 more games on this road trip, Chene. It is brutal.
Yeah, that's a heartbreaker for the Knicks. And I will say this, you said 2 things, on the move and out of position. A lot of times refs see you on the move and out of position, and sometimes they call it not knowing the actuality based off of the angles.
Right.
Yeah.
But here's my issue is that unless there is a challenge available, it's not reviewable. And I don't think that anybody is clamoring to slow the game down more with no
Tibbs
reviews.
used his challenge in the 2nd quarter on a Taj Gibson foul. And sometimes Tibbs gets angry and he calls for.
He was angrier after this part.
Okay, so I'm not going to question Tibbs and using it on your 9th man that just got joined to your roster because they don't have the depth.
Sounds like a question.
Some sarcasm there.
I know, right?
Only thing Taj, say we look alike. I don't see the resemblance. But this is what I will say about the play, and it's not a defensive rip. For the Knicks fans, truly, I feel for you. I know y'all give I give y'all a lot of heat. Knicks fans, this is not a shot at you. What I'm merely saying is this. In that play, if a guy goes to shoot and he does have his landing space, you don't hit his wrist, but the referees see his body turn as his body. They're at the end of the day.
That's what happened.
Yeah, yes. But
He believed that he made contact with him.
There was
because
you're saying there was zero contact to the body.
I'm saying he missed
ref
the call,
said they
but I
got it wrong.
understand why he called it.
Janae, last word on
I'll
this
take
for
that.
now.
Yeah, no,
Actually,
I think the
second
angles didn't help it, and I do think that overall, I mean, you can say the game was won or lost on that possession, but there were possessions before that really dictated it.
The refs are human. We all accept that, but that doesn't mean that fans aren't going to be very upset. That doesn't mean
And
that
save your
players
challenges. Save
are
your
not going to be
challenges.
very upset. Notable New Yorker Ben Stiller, he was spamming frustrated posts on social media after the whistle. And then he's still so angry that he sent in an exclusive quote to NBA Today saying, quote, basketball fans, not just Knicks fans, all see that was an awful call. Shouldn't there be recourse when refs make bad calls that loses the game? Also, Brunson is an all-star and does not get the calls or respect.
That's
he
irrelevant.
deserves. He
Mr.
says
Stiller.
Perk knows what I'm talking about. So clearly,
That's irrelevant.
Let me say this.
healthy Knicks
Vince-
going to the Eastern Conference Finals.
Ben Stiller, without a doubt, is my favorite New York Knicks fan. Some people might say
More than Perk?
Some people say Spike. I love Spike. I grew up on Spike. When I found out that Ben Stiller live tweets the game, Ben Stiller's my favorite Knicks
Really
fan.
quick, this is important right here, though, right? Because Dante DiVincenzo went out with a hamstring injury, which means that the team may be down at least 5 guys who have started 14 games for New York. Why are you making that face?
You just nothing. The 5 guys.
How concerning is
Well, it's
that?
very
Burgers and
concerning.
fries?
By the way, he had when he suffered that injury, he had played 41 of the 43
Yep.
minutes in the game. I don't know what the severity of the injury is or how it happened, but you have to wonder whether overuse, because they've had to play him so many minutes because all those other guys are out, contributed to it. And Malika, they have 2 more road games this week before the All-Star break.
And we've talked about how important the number 2 seed is in the Eastern Conference.
Jaylen Brunson.
No, he's too small.
But here's the thing, and that's
Didn't they say about you?
But you know
They
what?
say that about you.
But
You're a Hall of
but you know
Famer.
what?
I got a philosophy.
But-
Can I say my philosophy?
Go ahead.
If your best player is small, you're not winning. John Stockton, Allen Iverson, Steve Nash, you could go down the list. Steph Curry is the only.
Guys,
But he's
we
not
all-
that small.
but
He's not that small. He's like 6'3".
But also, though, I mean, he's the greatest shooter to ever walk the planet. He's in a
An
different
outlier.
class.
Okay.
She
But
is
see,
right. History says she is right.
Okay, but we're living in a new age, okay, new day. And here's the thing.
This is coming from a big man.
When we think about Jaylen Brunson, we got to ask ourselves, what tier do we put him in, right? Because every single time I see him get between those lines and it's time for him to match up against other superstars across the floor, he give them that work and he stand on business. Now, do the results come out as a win when it comes down to the Knicks overall? But hold on, stay with me. Stay with me. I watched them go into Phoenix a couple weeks and hand them 50. I watched them come down. Right after that, I watched them bounce back, come to L.A. and give them a solid 29. When we watched that series last year, Jaylen Brunson against the Miami Heat before they were eliminated, he was going back and forth with Jimmy Butler. I saw a couple of 35-plus point nights. So my thing is, I know he's not the typical, eye candy.
Is he the person that's going to win you a championship as 1A?
This is what I'm saying. All I know is that the last time Luka Doncic had success in the postseason and went to a conference finals, it was paired up alongside Jaylen Brunson. What I'm telling.
But that's the thing. It was Luka and Jaylen.
It was a combo because Jaylen had his moments in there as well.
I think that's all that
Say
Becky
something.
is
Let me
asking
just say
for is a
As somebody
combo.
who used to drop buckets as a small person in Madison
That's what I was
Square
trying to remind you of, Becky.
As a person that used to get some buckets, I'm saying this as a small person. This is a game that the big and bold and it favors that God-given thing. And I love Jaylen Brunson. I love Jaylen Brunson. But you're going to put him on the level of a 1A. You're putting him with Giannis,
AD, Jason
Steph.
Tatum.
I'll tell you what level are we putting Donovan Mitchell at? What level do we put Devin Booker at?
Well, and how is Donovan Mitchell won in the biggest moments?
What you mean?
Too small.
What biggest moments?
In the
What biggest moments?
Well,
what biggest moments has Donovan Mitchell?
What
has? Let me ask you this. Let me ask you. Okay, but let me ask you this. What's the furthest Donovan Mitchell ever advanced in the postseason?
I believe the second round.
Okay, Jaylen Brunson went to a Western Conference Finals. Jaylen Brunson went to the Knicks, beat Donovan Mitchell when he played the Cavs last season, and then came back and lost to the Heat, who went on to knock off not only Giannis before they met up with the Knicks, but they went to knock down the Boston Celtics. But Jaylen Brunson did his thing. R.J. Barrett and Julius Randle was not.
So are you saying that he's a one in the NBA?
All I'm saying is we got to stop looking at him and saying he doesn't fit the criteria of actually being a 1A. I understand. I understand he has a whack.
77 years of basketball in the NBA.
I understand.
And it's not a knock. It's not a knock on Brunson. It's just the way things are currently constructed.
Okay, if you swap the two, since everybody said, "Oh, the Knicks need a superstar. The Knicks need this." If Dame was in Jaylen Brunson's shoes, would the Knicks be better? No. If Donovan Mitchell was in Jaylen Brunson's shoes, would the Knicks be better? Hell no. So why are we not putting him in that caliber?
But are we putting the Knicks in that tier? Because at the end of the day, Jaylen Brunson, he wants to win a championship like everybody else. And when we're talking about the East, we're really talking about those three teams and everybody else. And the Knicks, they're right up there knocking on that door. But are you putting them in that tier behind Jaylen Brunson?
I'll tell you what, I got more confidence in the Knicks right now than I do the Milwaukee Bucks.
Well, that's a good.
I got Jaylen Brunson, a legitimate league MVP candidate in the house tonight. I don't know what LeBron's going to do. I don't know what Anthony Davis going to do. Here's all I know. New York Knicks going to be ready. Make no mistake about it. Best record in the NBA in the new year, balling, winning 14 of the last 16 games. 14 and 2 over the month of January. They're absolutely balling. That is why I'm here tonight. The Lakers are going down. I'm telling you in advance. I don't need to wait for no damn prediction, okay? This is what we've been waiting for. You want to send a message? They wanted to send a message. I'm not going to say we here just yet. I'm here, and there's a reason for it. The Knicks are coming, y'all. They are coming.
If Stephen A's attitude is any indication, Bob, I mean, it's going to be electric in there tonight.
I want to yield my time just to Stephen A. Senator from New York, Stephen A.
Stephen A. Smith, senator in Madison Square Garden.
He's earned this. I think Stephen A's earned this moment in time. The question, Malika, that I have about this Knicks team, they're really good. I mean, this isn't a joke. This isn't just Stephen A. loves the Knicks and we're making some shtick here.
No, it's very serious.
They're good. They are good. This is real. They're 4th in the league in net rating. They're 7th in offense, 6th in defense. That guy, Jaylen Brunson, he's averaging 33 points in their 9-game winning streak. The question I have for our Senator Smith out there in New York or anyone is, they're really good. Are they great? I don't think great is made until the playoffs. I think this team could get to the Eastern Conference Championship. I don't know what our guy out there on the ground thinks, but I think they're really good. I defer to my right here, Mr. Wilbon, but I think it's great when the Knicks are good. I do. I think it's fantastic when the Knicks are good, and it's good for the league. It's good for everybody.
I'm not going to disagree with you on how good they are. I might say this, though, Bob. There's some years where we don't get a great team. We get a championship team. We get a champion. And I'm thinking about a team like, and they're going to just go crazy on me later for this because being in Chicago and talking about Detroit, looks like I'm downgrading them. The 2004 Pistons, people don't talk about them as a great team. Didn't they win?
Yeah.
They won. You got to be the best that year. I don't see great. I wonder about the Celtics, and not because they lost that game to the Lakers in these dog days of February, not because of that. But the Celtics have got something to prove in June. They haven't done it. And so maybe the Knicks are right there and can challenge it. We're talking about a 7-game series, a series of games in which injuries and momentum and all those things come into play. So I don't know if the Knicks are great, but I don't know if they need to be. I think the Knicks can be the Eastern Conference champion this season.
It's hard for us to talk when we see Stephen A's facial responses.
Go ahead, Stephen A.
We can't focus. Can you just kind of maintain your composure?
I was wondering because I didn't hear the level of enthusiasm that I was looking for from Wilbon. But his words, his verbiage, what he articulated is absolutely accurate. We can't rule out the possibility that the New York Knicks can win the East. Bottom line is this. You got a league MVP candidate in Jaylen Brunson. As far as I'm concerned, if he finishes as the top 2 seed in the East, he will be in line to capture league MVP honors. That's number 1. Number 2, look at Boston, jacking up 44 threes a game. Look at Milwaukee, can't play defense, can't stop a cold right now. I don't know why. Look at the Miami Heat. You got Big Perk with his crazy self talking about trading Jimmy Butler. You got some stuff going on with that. In the Philadelphia 76ers, we don't even know when Joel Embiid is going to be available. So the opportunity is ripe because Julius Julius Randle ain't going to be out for the season. Mitchell Robinson expected to be back. OG Anunoby, which has the Knicks as the #1 team in defensive efficiency since he arrived, he's here. I'm taking into account all of those things, along with the leadership that Brunson is providing, the coaching, exceptional coaching, particularly on the defensive side of the ball, that Tom Thibodeau is providing. And I'm telling you right now, the New York Knicks should make it to the conference finals, and they got a chance, because as great as Tatum and Brown is, even with Porzingis and Holiday and White in the lineup, if you're jacking up 44 threes a game, and that's how you plan on winning the East, I just don't know.
Is this the same Stephen A. who was saying Tibbs was going to wear this team out before we got to April 1st?
I'm worried. I'm still worried about that. I'm still worried about that.
Hey, what's up, guys? Jag from Jaggy Sports here. Let's talk about the Knicks. The Knicks. Did they get screwed over last night? The refs pretty much said what they said this morning. The analysts said what they just said this morning, as you just saw in the clip. So I kind of want to hear from you guys. Did they get screwed over? You guys saw the replay, right? Did they get screwed over? And another question I want to pose to you guys are the Knicks contenders or pretenders? Perfect time to ask, because they made a game really close last night, 105-103. OG is injured. Randall, not there. So they kept it close. They could have won that game if it wasn't for that brutal call. Well, I guess you know what my opinion is. So, are they contenders or pretenders? Because one analyst said about a month and a half ago, Jaylen Brunson is too small. And you guys know who I'm talking about. And then the other one said they're not really buying the Knicks, right? They're not really buying the Knicks right now. Giannis and the Bucks, they pretty much destroyed, they beat the Nuggets, defending champions. Philadelphia are without Joel Embiid, even though they have Buddy Hield. They are playing pretty well too, right? And just imagine when Joel Embiid comes back, Philadelphia is no force to be reckoned with, right? So it's pretty much, and obviously you have Boston Celtics. So Eastern Conference is packed. Eastern Conference is legit contenders, right? They are wild east, if you want to say it that way. So can the Knicks get past the first round? Can they get past the second round? After that trade with OG Anunoby, I basically said anyone that picks up OG Anunoby is going to be loving it. And the Knicks were loving it because they went on a rampage of wins. The second he got there, then he got injured. Now you got Bogdanović, sniper right there. You fortified your bench. So to say that they are pretenders, I'll just call it what it is. Bob Myers basically disagreed with Stephen A. Smith, basically saying that they don't have a superstar. They have like a bunch of stars. They're being compared to the Detroit Pistons of the 2004 playoffs, where they beat the Lakers and went on to win the championship. That's who they're being compared against, or compared to. So are the Knicks contenders or pretenders? You guys tell me. And quite frankly, Brian Windhorst is saying a team to look out for in the second half of the season after the All-Star break are the Warriors. Now, the Warriors are playing pretty damn good as well. But the Bucks, they found a way to win against the Nuggets. What does that tell you about the Bucks? Can they come out of the East? Well, I don't know. You got a lot of firepower to compete with. You got Boston, you got Philly, you got New York. Never count out Miami. Never, ever, ever count out Miami. Miami is a force to be reckoned with for sure, even though they don't look like it right now. But trust me, you do not want to bet against Miami. I bet with Miami and I won pretty big last year. So yeah, that's one bet you'll always guaranteed to have a chance. So leave a comment in the comment section. Tell me what you guys think about that call last night. And most importantly, are the Knicks contenders or pretenders? Leave a comment in the comment section. As always, Jag from Jaggy Sports.